to select a body out of this selection. I'm going to do one slight change from previous tries here, which is I'm going to select the engine position early on, because it caused trouble before trying to do that later down the line. Anyway, I believe we have everything here now. So we've got, let's see, it did select the Sakura wagon before. So we've got a sedan or saloon, whatever you might call it. It calls it sedan in this game, so that's what we are going with. Medium? Okay. Before it went with a medium wagon, and that was the Sakura mobile, as I called it, but that was not on stream. That was just something I built. Actually worked surprisingly well, despite having drag tyres. Then it decided today it was badly flawed and didn't want to drive. But that's aside the point. We've got to choose a mid-sized saloon. So body type, or sedan as it calls it. So we've got that is our body type. We're also going to have to select the engine positioning. So we've got somewhere here, yeah, there we go. And then we will go about choosing what we've got. Rear-engined, okay. This should be interesting. I mean, a rear-engine sedan isn't necessarily the weirdest platform in the world, because I'm sure they were done a lot in like the 1950s and 60s by certain companies. I'd say front-wheel drive really took over, but before front-wheel drive was a mainstream powertrain, typically rear-engine rear drive was what a lot of cheaper vehicles used. So we can now hide the wheel for a moment and see what we have to choose from. So we're going mid-size. I'm thinking we're probably looking at 2.8 like this. Being a sedan, I would go with 5 doors. If it was a coupe that it selected, that would be where the 2 doors would come in. Unless the only case I would accept the 2-door for a sedan body style is if it had a small body style. This is a more mid-size one. I think we could go see what older ones are. You know what, this is an E36 M3 type body, or just 3 Series in general. If you can get a 5-door, I'll give this a try. It seems to fall into the right kind of size category. Yeah, there is a 5-door, or 4-door technically, because it's not an estate. The estate wagon would have been a 5-door. This is a 4-door, which is what I'm looking for. The right kind of size. I think it looks pretty good for what it is. This is a good starting point, and it should support rear-engined. I didn't actually have that checked, but it should support it. I don't see why this body wouldn't, as a body. Yeah, I mean, it's not giving me any weird warnings. I think I'll take rear-engine. I may have to change it later, but there's a nice amount of rear overhang should we need it. The track width is ridiculous at the moment. If it goes with body on frame, I'll likely choose something a little more American, because American bodies are typically designed that way in the older 60s cars and stuff, so they're designed to work that way. We do have to choose our 7 options though, and let's see what we get. If it gives us a 1, we're getting the same technology front and rear. And no, we're getting double wishbone. This is good. This is good stuff. Like, I get it. Double wishbone is good. McPherson struts is not quite as good. But it's McPherson struts on the front. I think they can typically pair up with double wishbones quite nicely on a rear-engine layout. I didn't ask it for a engine positioning because as far as rear-engine go, in this game at least, is only longitudinal. That's the only option that we have. So far, yes, it's stuck with the aluminium semi-space frame, which for some reason the wheel always goes for. I mean, it's to that point, maybe it's a coincidence. It's a bit of an odd coincidence that it keeps occurring every single time. So, yeah, it says E36 even, so it's exactly what I suspected. That is a 2-door. We'll be going for the 4-door because it's not selected a coupe. If we go here, yeah, it says coupe and that says sedan. So, I personally believe it falls more into coupe if it is a 2-door. Only in a very small saloon would I accept the 2-door. Like, if there was no 4-door option, because it makes sense. This is mid-size. This body seems to work. I'm liking the overall suspension config. It could still mess me up with the engine or brakes. I'm not going underneath 2 litres in terms of displacement today. I did that before. It was dumb. I don't have the random colour selector open at the moment. So there we go. I think this could work. Honestly, as far as blue and green go, I feel I could see them complementing each other in some sense of the word. I'll be honest, I don't know exactly the difference between all these all-wheel drive types. I know 4x4 is a lot more off-roady, but quite frankly, I think there's going to be differences. But I think an all-wheel drive system is typically going to be an all-wheel drive system in terms of just general handling. So we'll make a new project here. And we'll see how it configures our engine. 2, 3. I'll take Forged Heavy. Like, that's the third option. That is very almost giving me cast, but it isn't. So even though it's a heavier duty type of Forged, it is still Forged. Things are actually going a little too well with this for a random wheel build. Even if it doesn't give me a turbo. I did forget to choose a displacement, so I will do that next after this. But we have got up to a 7-litre engine. Or say 6 to 7 litres. So 6 to 7 litres. Not 67 litres. So we've got to find a way of... I'm going to try starting off with square. Okay. So I'm definitely going to have a bit of a stroke bias in order to get this working. So let's say... I think 98.9. That's about as big as I can get the ball. I think this is going to work, though, mind you. Like, yes, it's stroke bias, but we have 8 cylinders, and we do have a pretty good set of internals. They're either forged or some higher-end technology than forged. So if we go, no, that's the maximum ball it'll take. Could be worse. I mean, for a rear engine layout, it takes a lot of engine. I'm going to lean on the fact it's an aluminium block, though, because without the aluminium block, this thing would be far too heavy. So we've got compound turbo. I'm not so sure what the difference is. I think compound and sequential are higher-end versions of the turbo technology. Yeah. So we've got to... is this going to be a quad-turbo rear engine pushrod V8? I like it, though. Like, this is absolutely insane, and I love it. So we're either going to have 2 turbos or 4 turbos. Let us see. 2 options there. And we have got... yes! I don't know what you're thinking, wheel, but I like it. Just close the wheel for a moment so I can show this insanity. They're probably not going to stay that big, I'll be honest. But we have the forged internals, and actually fairly heavy-duty forged internals. I feel like the wheel is cooking something, because if we go back a moment... we look at this, so the forged, the conrods are not forged heavy, but they're equally so they're not forged light. This is generally a heavy-duty engine, and the pushrod as well only compounds such an idea, because pushrod is a typically low-revving, torque-heavy kind of ideology. So we are going to go bring up the wheel again. We have got 3 options for what kind of wastegate we get. Is it or boost control, whatever you call it. I don't think this is really going to matter particularly, even if it chooses a 1. And again, it's being so kind. Why is it that when it decides to go give me a turbo, it gives me some really nice technology? As I say, this stuff doesn't matter as much as how many turbos we have. That was a big thing, and we got quite lucky there. So 1, 2. This is going to be fast. I tell you, maybe it'll be uncontrollable, but it'll be fast. And we have got double wishbone on the back, McPherson struts on the front, so it may not even be that bad. We've got number 2, variable. And we'll spin this again. Even if it's a journal bearing at this point, as I say, and it is not a journal bearing, the wheel is definitely cooking here. The wheel has made some pretty crazy decisions, and I don't despise what the wheel has done in the slightest. I probably should be fearing it. Now it's going to give me a carburetor, isn't it? I feel it's going to give me a carburetor. I think this could be worse. It's given me single barrel carburetor technology, but it's given me 3 of them. I think this is going to at least pull some air into the engine. I don't think there's going to be major airflow issues, because as bad as these carburetors are individually, there's enough technology to pull a little bit of air through the engine. And I can take that as a win, honestly. I have a 6 options, so we get a race intake. The only thing I'm a bit iffy about is the carbs. The only thing I'm slightly frustrated about is the carbs, but it's given me 3 of them. So maybe this will still work. Oh dear. Oh dear. Probably can't see it behind me head, but this is fast. So, okay, torque is amazing in terms of both what it will do and what it will handle. We've got RPM is not amazing, but it's consistent. We can do just over 6,000 on both conrod and crank. And if I'm going for more of a low-end engine, low-end horsepower, I don't know how you'd say it, that's not bad. Like, this is making 750. And although it's not stable at that, although I do need to reduce the torque, that is some power. So let's just see how it sounds. And that's with carburetors, remember, so tweaking the carburetors a little, I could potentially get even more out of it. This does stand to be actually a proper supercar power engine, the most powerful thing the wheel has ever built. It's just been generally good about building this, so even being a push-rod engine, it has the size to make up for that, and it has the componentry to handle the power and torque in general. Well, I did say let's hope it gives me enough gears. I did say let's hope it gives me enough gears, and it gave me 10 of them. Now, what differential? If we get a half-decent diff, that would really help. It is all-wheel drive, actually. I've just remembered that. It is all-wheel... I was thinking it was rear-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive is actually going to help with weight balance as well. So, as I say, maybe the wheel is genuinely cooking something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's viscous, which isn't the best differential, but it's going through all... I think, like, 2 viscous differentials at least. Front and rear. So it should be okay, even if they're not the best diffs, it should provide it with some kind of assistance. Is it going to put me on cross-ply tyres now with all this power? Basically throw me out in the rain? I shouldn't say this. I really shouldn't say anything. Oh dear. Oh dear. I don't have words for what it's doing to me right now. I don't think this thing's going to grip. All I could do is try and stick massive tyres on it, but they're cross-ply, so they don't generally take nicely to being massive. Sports is that, or medium? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Medium. I see some potential here. So if we can just ramp these numbers up, it gives me 265s and all-wheel drive, which is maybe less bad than it could be. So if we go 655, make that slightly bigger. I mean, these wheels are tiny though. Like, I could try making them smaller. Like, that's the only way I think I can get it working. 15-inch or so wheels. It would actually kind of work if it gave me steel wheels about now, visually. I must say that. Like, my car even has 16s, and they are not big wheels. But they are still bigger than these. I've got 6 options here to choose from for wheels. Please give me something nice. I say steels would be okay though, and they would. Yeah, it's giving me steelies. Of all the cars to have steelies, I mean, this has bigger issues. We've got 295 cross-plies by just having the wheels tiny, but as I say, cross-plies do not like the, what would you call it? Cross-plies just do not generally like going wide. The only way you can do it is by doing what I've done. Oh, I can actually make them a bit smaller on the tyres again and still keep 295s because I made the wheels smaller. As I say, I think this might still handle though, even on the cross-plies, because we've got all-wheel drive and viscous differentials front and rear, and the brakes I think are what it's going to lean on. If I have to make these bigger because of the brakes, and I shouldn't let the wheel hear this knowing how it thinks, but the wheel totally is self-aware. Yeah, I think even with these fairly standard cross-plies, firstly, it's not like utility or all-terrain or something. They are actually road tyres. And secondly, if the brakes are adequate, let's say, for lack of a better term, we should be able to do something with it. I think I had 5 options and it's only had 4 to select. Dumb, but it has given me a brake set anyway. 2 piston solid discs, they're not ideal. To be fair, it maybe relies a bit more on rear brakes because the engine is back there. I don't know. Somehow I think the front brakes are still the most important. I am seeing 90s car vibes here, but for some reason, it seems like, you know, 90s custom race car made from bits they found lying around a junkyard in the 90s, and they're just thrown them all together and gone mad. That's the vibe it gives me, but then it's on cross-ply tyres, which I still think is going to work. To be honest, given how wide I have somehow managed to get these cross-plies, I think it's going to have a level of handling. So we get cooling flaps. Yes. I mean, as I say, it probably won't make the same amount of power. So we're going to have, let's say, realistically, I think we're going to have two... For seats, we're going to have, I believe, 2, 4, and 5, as they seem realistic for this type of car. So that's the options I'm going to give the wheel. Because I don't want options that are completely unrealistic, but I want the wheel to decide. Okay, 2. I mean, I could complain more. At least the one upside is going to move the weight forward a little if it's not got a lot of seat weight in the back. Although it makes those rear seats the best part of useless. As I say, it's some kind of like crazy hot rod of sorts, because it's not making 100% of sense what they're doing. No, 6.7. I made a 6.7 wheel. It's not making the most sense, but what it's coming out with is generally nice and overall sporty. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 luxury interior. I guess that makes sense. Sat nav. Okay. Makes enough sense. For like a 90s high-ish end saloon, sat-nav isn't actually inconceivable. So we've got 2 options. Let's see what we enter. Let's see what we bring out of the car. Luxury sat-nav. Okay, I'm guessing this is like a very high-end late 90s 3 Series for the base body. Like, that's the vibe I get. I know you could say 3 Series isn't technically luxury. I'm trying to cling on to some level of sense as to what this may have been before some crazy man stuck this completely wild modified V8 in the boot. I'm just going to say it's got a roll cage. New law developed. It's got a roll cage. So are we going to get, what's it, 1 or 2? Let us see. We have got the world's safest 1990s BMW. I say that on cross-ply tyres. World's safest when you inevitably get into a crash. I feel like this is going to crash. With this much power, I am going to wreck it sooner or later. It's being kind. It's being very kind. It's got passive sway bars for some reason. This suspension is nice, like properly nice. Firstly, we've got the struts front, and we've got the double wishbone rear, and we've got pretty nice springs and dampers as well. I think, tyres and brakes aside not being that great, everything else about this should be able to put that power down quite well. I am going to have to try and do some suspension tuning. Before it gave me drag tyres, drag radials on the Sakura Mobile when I was offline, and I made that work. Took a lot of suspension tuning, but I made it work. So here is a absurd car. Let's see how the braking is said to be. There we go. I think, yeah, we just ignore the 2.4 litre now. Anyway. What's going on here? It's like it doesn't want to shift. Oh no, I'm scared. It's very scary going in a straight line. I blame the cross-ply. Sounds almost like it's got a CVT. It is moving. I mean, it's not like it's stuck in first gear. It just doesn't seem like it's shifting very well. Come on. Like, it's going, and it's not actually overheating, surprisingly enough. I think the cross-ply tyres are doing it in, to be honest. Better tyres, and this thing would actually drive really nicely. Oh, it didn't show the loading bars, so it literally just waited and then... I mean, there's no ESC or traction control, where it's just ABS, so that shouldn't be stopping this. Okay, I think I need to give it a bit more respect than I am. So just accept this maybe doesn't have the kind of handling to go with the speed that you would typically expect. Yeah, it just doesn't have the handling that I would have hoped for. The thing does go, and the badges are absent. Like, why have you done this to me? I did have the badges in automation. I'll just have to generally have a quick go over of it to make sure it's completely fixed with the gearing and stuff. But there is potential here. It is a fun thing. It reminds me kind of what you get in Simpsons Hit and Run, which is just... It's a bit random in what it is, but you can kind of see resemblance to a few real-life cars. It's that kind of thing to me. There we go. Yeah, like, I don't know why, it just sounds like it's constantly hitting the limits of the transmission and not actually going anywhere. Okay, it can take a few bumps, that's definitely a plus point. And I feel that it's just in general the cross-ply tyres, cross-ply medium tyres just have no grip. I can't really blame the rest of the car. The rest of the car setup is actually good. Like, if I had to change one thing about it, I would probably just put race tyres on. Because it's really something that could drive so much nicer, I feel, if the tyres weren't awful trash. I mean, it's like some of the cars in BeamNG, when, from the, like, some of the cars that just come in BeamNG from the full, that if you change out the tyres to more modern tyres, they can actually drive really well, but because they're stuck on tyres from the 1960s or whatever, you're not fully utilising the full handling of the thing. It's making black smoke everywhere. Remember, this thing has not got a catalytic converter at all. I don't think it's got any mufflers either. The wheel decided, you know what, we don't need any of that. And thus we have the most polluting vehicle in human history. But hey, it's got 4 turbos, so all is forgiven. Come on. I'll be honest, despite all its issues, when you do get it into a slide, it's pretty good fun. I mean, I'll give one more try to the Sakura Mobile. Just to see, because if that works here, but for whatever reason not in Johnson Valley, but I think it is just completely broken. And it needs something adjusting to work. Let it just idle for a moment. Yeah, like, this was a fun vehicle. It's like on drag tyres, but I managed to get it handling. And it drives really well, actually, surprisingly so. But you see, now it's just overheating. Because something is just badly messed up about the build. Piston rings have gone, like, already, as you can see. I don't think I've left the other car. I think I just replaced it with that. Where am I? I've lost my way, it seems. Yeah, the other car just isn't here anymore. Anyway, I'll be calling it a day for now. If only this car hadn't gone up in smoke, but it has. And so, I'll leave it here, because I have a lot of editing to do soon. And I'll say goodbye until another day.